Okay, this talk is presented by Andrei Grigor. He is front-end developer at AudioWeb, and his subject is about introducing content rules and URL management.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me well? I'm Andrei. I'm a front-end developer at AudioWeb, Romania. I'm working with the European Environment Agency. And a couple of months ago, I've been participating in the Beethoven sprint, where I've got my hands dirty with Volto, so to speak. And we implemented the URL redirect, also called aliases. Yep, so I'm going to show you how this looks in Plone Classic. This is an already present feature in Plone Classic. It's called URL management. As you can see, I already have some URLs here. You can add here the alternative path, alt URL, and the target URL where it's the page that we want to redirect. Let's do this for the news. And we see here we have the alt URL. We also have the option to filter it automatically or manually create it. And we can also bulk upload here in the Plone Classic. Now, the Volto implementation. We can see URL aliases from here. This is on the individual page, and we can add an alternative URL. We'll call it plone-conf alt. As you can see, it has much more nice UI. And let's just test this. Yeah, that's regular URL. And as you can see, it redirects to the original page. We can also manage multiple aliases. We can delete old ones. I just deleted something you liked. Sorry. Yeah, and as you can see, this is a really nice functionality. I really didn't know about it until I got to work on it. And this could solve a lot of issues that you don't know. I mean, we had an implementation for redirect view, and now having this, it's really no longer needed. And there's another way we can edit aliases. It's from the control panel, URL management. And here we have all the aliases created. One thing that you don't see here is the bulk editing part. We didn't implement this in Volto, but this is an open invitation for you to implement this. Yeah, we can set it here as well. Just make a new alias news. I just did it backwards. New alias news. And it works just as well. If we have a lot of aliases, I mean, sometimes we can even have like hundreds, depending on what we use. We can just filter it here, get the ones we like. We also support batching here, so it doesn't crash our page if we have a ton of aliases. Yeah, so this is already merged. I mean, you can use it on the demo. It's functional. Now, moving on to the content rules. Content rules is quite a complex mechanism which solves a lot of issues. This is, again, another functionality I had absolutely no idea about until I got to work on it. And let's see how it looks on Plone Classic. We have to go to the site setup. And we have here the content rules. You can already see I have some content rules I made just playing before this. We can edit basic stuff about the rule. And we have something interesting like the triggering event. This is the thing that triggers this rule and the entire mechanism of this rule. I've set this to object copied, but as you can see, we have multiple choices here. I'm just going to cancel this because it's in Plone Classic. We can also configure it here. We have a condition and an action that is going to run once the rule is triggered. And we can also see where this rule is assigned. This is also available here on the individual item. And we can see available rules. We can't edit them from here. We have to do it from the control panel because it's really quite complex to edit rules. But we can enable or apply to subfolders or just unassign them. Now, for the Volto implementation, I try to follow kind of the same UI. So here we have rules in the More tab, and we can add a rule, disable it, enable it. Pretty much what we can do here from the object. But if we want more control on this, we go to the control panel. It's the content section, content rules, and we see all the rules that we have defined here in our site. I'm going to show this one, which I configured earlier. We have an edit interface. This is just for the basic configuration of the rule, some description and some title. And the triggering event. As you can see, we have the same events as in Plone Classic. Quickly save this. We go back, and here we have the rule. We'll just delete one. We can filter it. It's exactly the same case as with aliases. If we have a lot of them and we need to pinpoint the exact rules that we use somewhere, we can filter it from here and object copy. It's just a basic filter. And I've set up, just before this presentation, a quick setup about this rule. As you can see, we already have this rule, copy object rule 3. It's going to trigger when an object is copied. So I'll quickly go to the contents. I'll copy this page inside. It's copied. I'm going to paste it here as well. And one more thing I didn't show you about this rule is what it does. So we have this one. As you can see, we have no condition here, but it's going to trigger because we already configured the trigger before from the edit, and it's going to perform the following action. It's going to copy the object triggered into the news folder. So we copied the page earlier, and now it should be here, the exact same page in news. So this is an automatic behavior of Volto that's it's made possible by the Plone REST API, and we can just set up complex workflows. This is just a simple example of what we can do, but we can do much more. Like, let's just say we want to configure a rule. I'm going to add a new rule, my new cool rule. No description because it's not mandatory. Let's just say we trigger it when a comment is added. I'm going to set it to enable, and we have the cool new rule here. We can set a condition. Let's say it triggers for a specific content type. Let's set it for page. I'm going to set it for a basic page. And let's send an email when this rule is triggered. Subject: hey, I am triggered. Email source: message, hello, something is happening. And now we have a complete workflow of sending an email when this rule is triggered. We have many other options. I mean, just imagination. you can set with whatever workflows you have in mind. It's just a thing to explore. One more thing I really haven't had time to test. I think in Plone Classic the notification is working, but in Volto is not currently an implementation because we don't have a notification system in Volto. So that is again an invitation for someone who wants to implement a notification system. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to thank also my colleagues which helped me with the REST API part. It's Julian here in the room, and also Valentin, which is a colleague of mine at ODEB. It's not present here. If you have any questions about this.
First of all, amazing work. We were all excited here. And I'm going to ask the question, right? In the classic UI, when you go to email, you have a list of variables that you can use for interpolation. That's really useful. Yeah. Go to content rules.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about, but
yeah.
I've just haven't added that text. I think, but it should work.
Yeah. Show, so
configure.
Yeah, go on edit.
And it's
that's
these ones. Yeah, this portion hasn't been added. I've somehow went past it.
Just because that was selfish from me, because I love content rules. I have one add-on that copies exactly like that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to implement that. And then that's the only thing that's missing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to follow on that, for Volto, it might be possible to reimagine this UI and maybe have something where you type the $ and then get a autocomplete of the variables or something like that.
like just automatically complete.
Yeah, I mean like a type ahead sort of way to complete the variables. Not necessary, but might be cool.
Yeah,
Really-
well,
really-
I'm waiting for a suggestion, and you can also open a PR for that and just.
I don't have anything else to do, so yeah. Really great work, though. My actual question was, as you were building these things, what was the hardest part to figure out, or the biggest challenge?
Well, alias is really quite simple. It's not that big of a deal. It's quite a simple interface, but the challenge came with content rules. I mean, we have, I think we have three individual views which control the rule, but the hardest part was this one. I mean, how can I get content for these drop downs, and how can I make it to be to change dynamically? If you see here, it's form, but if I change workflow state, it's also form, but its content is different. So the challenge was in creating somehow of a variable model that accepts a schema for the specific the specific type we have, and also to get the information from Plone of the content of these drop downs. So it's okay. It's yeah, it's quite a dynamic here, but I got it to work.
Thank you.
Any other question? Nobody.
This is a generic question, let's say, not completely related to your work. I've been involved, David. I've been involved a little bit with mentoring on this project, and the challenging part. So Andre worked on the front end, but was quite challenging on the back end to expose basically the endpoints with all the information that could be read from a front end. And in the Plone control panel, it's all sub requests, sub views, and so on. It's quite difficult there. And I was wondering if you know other major control panels that should be ported to Volto.
No, I don't know other major
Yeah.
control panels that should be migrated to Volto.
Okay.
But
Okay, but yeah, because I would guess that there are a few, and I think there's also a few that don't really make sense under Volto. For example, I don't know, the TinyMC control panel and so on.
Is there other question? And no question on Discord, I think.
yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so.
I think that's it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you as well. Quite a short one.
Normally at 10:40 there is a little break, but so